If you've lost an animal, or maybe you're currently supporting an animal through their transition, you may be wondering, what do animals experience before and during their transition into the afterlife? Well, that's what I'm going to be talking about in today's video. I'm going to be sharing the stories that your animals have shared with me over the years. This isn't anything I've read in a book. It isn't anything I've heard other people talk about. It's their experiences, their thoughts about transitioning, how they feel in those final moments, what it's like for them, and even how they feel when they transition alone. So do stick around to the very end. A common question that I get is, did my animal know that they were getting sick? Did they know that they were going to cross over? And the answer is yes. Our animals always know when their health is deteriorating, and they also know when they're going to transition into the afterlife. And the reason for this is because our animals have a greater awareness of their soul contracts with us, their experiences that they're coming here to share with us, and how they come into our lives, how they leave, the experiences that they have throughout, and those encounters with us and other animals. So I wanted to share a little story here of a reading that I did with a dog called Justin. And his pet parents came to me because they were a little concerned that they had noticed some behavioral issues or some behavioral changes in their dog. So they got me to connect with him, and the first thing he said was, tell my guardians that I love them, tell them how much I appreciate the life and the experiences and the love and connection that they've given me. And then he said, also let them know that I'm not doing well and I'm going to be transitioning very soon. And as you can imagine, this came as quite a bit of a shock, not only to myself, but to his pet parents too. Because he was only 5 years old, he hadn't shown any other changes in behavior. There wasn't anything else that seemed to be alarming. It was just that lack of wanting to interact with the other animals and themselves. He later got checked out at the vet, who confirmed that this was indeed the case. He was terminally ill, and they said he only had a few months left to live. And what this gave the family was this opportunity to bond together, even though they were noticing more and more signs that their animal was getting ready to transition. So some of the things you may notice if your animal has passed away, or if you're someone that's going through this process now, it is common for our animals to lose interest in what is going on around them. So as they start moving their awareness to the spirit world, they become less concerned with what is going on around them. So they may lose their appetite, and that could be not wanting to eat even their favorite foods. They may no longer want to drink any water or have any liquids. You may also notice this isolation. Sometimes it's from other animals. Sometimes it's also from their guardians too. They just want to be alone, have that time. Another thing you may notice is confusion. This is a common one at the end. It could also be a sense of spaciness that may come through. So there are a few signs to look out for there. And what I would say is, we tend to think of this as something that is alarming, and in a way it is, because it is a sign that something is going on and we should definitely get our animals checked out. But my invitation is to do those things, but also think about it slightly differently. If you think about what those signs mean, it means that your animal is getting ready to transition into the afterlife. And as I've said, the fact that they're becoming less interested in the physical world means that they're starting to open up to the spirit world. And this is a good thing, because the less that our animals are aware of what is going on here physically, the more they become aware of their spiritual nature, and they're no longer feeling the pain or the aches in the body or the discomfort. And that's what we want for them as good pet parents. We want them to have a dignified passing. We want them to cross over in a way that's effortless. And this is a simple process, and animals can do this themselves. They don't really need us to be around. But from talking to the animals, one of the things that they always say is they would love their pet parents to be around. And some animals do have the luxury of having their guardians there throughout, being there, supporting them in the best way that they can. and others don't. And I'll talk about this in a moment a little more. But if we're thinking about ways that we can support our animals, what I would say is that the biggest request I get from the animals is tell my pet parents that I want them to be fully present. And that's the exact same thing that Justin said in his reading. He was like, tell my pet parents that I want them to be there to the very end. I want to have that closeness with them. And we were lucky that we were able to be there together in those final moments, supporting him through that transition and creating these memories of presence which last and stick with us for many, many years. And what I wanted to talk about is what it's like for them in those moments. So I've discussed some of the signs you may already be noticing if your animal's crossing over. And now I wanted to talk about what it is that they experience as they're transitioning. So when I connected to Justin, and this is an experience that I've had with countless animals, but I'll stick to Justin's story here. What he was feeling as he was moving into the spirit world was a feeling of coming home. There's a warmth to the feeling, there's a feeling of calm, feeling of love and compassion. And this is what they're feeling as they're leaving their body or as they're detaching from the body, because it is a form of detachment that occurs. They're feeling more of that and less of what is going on in the physical body. And this is a beautiful thing. Yes, I know it can be, and it is very stressful. It's very, it makes us feel anxious. Our emotions are all over the place when this is physically happening, when we're seeing our animals cross over. But if we truly stay present for our animals in this moment, what you may end up feeling is a sacred space that opens up. So as your animal becomes fully spiritual, so moves into that spiritual realm, leaves the body behind, there is a sort of vortex that opens up. And if you're someone that's very sensitive, you will definitely feel what I mean by this. I know many of my clients have felt this right at the end. And if you're not, that's okay too. There may be some sensations that you feel in the body, but the feeling that's there is this warmth, this coming home, this feeling of love, compassion, and total acceptance. And if we're there with them, that just makes the experience so much more wonderful for us and our animals too. And I would say if the one thing that you can do for them is just be fully present. But I do want to mention here that not all animals want to cross over with their pet parents or their guardians. And this isn't because they don't love them. It isn't because they don't want to be around them. Sometimes this happens because they're not able to fully transition. So for example, if you're out there and you're going through this now and you're one of those pet parents that goes and checks on their animal, this can actually, a million times, you keep going in, checking in, this can actually draw them back into the physical body and not allow them to effortlessly move through or transition into the afterlife. So we're wanting to be mindful of these interactions and giving them the space that they need while still supporting them. So what tends to happen in these situations, sometimes animals decide to run away. And it could be for various reasons. It could be because they don't feel they can fully transition. This is usually the case with cats. You'll find that cats will generally run away to transition. And this is for two reasons, either because they don't feel they can fully transition on their own, or because they want to not have their pet parents suffer. They feel that the experience would be too traumatic, too difficult for them to handle. So what tends to happen is they may pass away in the middle of the night, or they may decide to cross over the day before you come back from the holidays. So they'll pick the moment that is perfect for them and perfect for you in a way. So I know there's never a perfect moment for our animals to pass away, but you know what I mean. They'll pick the time that they think is the most suitable. And I also wanted to talk about here a little bit about what it's like for animals that transition on their own. Because I know a lot of the times I hear from pet parents saying, oh, I wasn't there for my animal at the end. I feel like I let them down and I'm dealing with tremendous amounts of guilt. And the truth is that our animals never truly feel alone. And let me go a little more into this because this blew my mind when I first heard it. So first of all, the animals always told me that they never felt alone, that they always felt their loved ones around. And when I would talk to the clients, I would say, okay, well, he felt that you were there right at the end. And they were like, well, I wasn't there, or maybe I didn't get there in time, but I was there after the passing. And I would always get these images of the animal with their loved one, and then this feeling of love. And it wasn't until the animals started to go a little deeper, they explained to me what it was they were perceiving. So even when an animal crosses over at a local vet or even in the middle of the night, they're not truly alone. So what happens is they start to have images that run through their mind. It almost feels like a life review. They'll have these memories pop into their mind, the things that they did with you, all those adventures you went on with together, on all those moments you shared where there was love, kindness, compassion, all those moments that really helped you bond together. Those start running through their mind, and then the feeling of unconditional love starts to intensify. And what happens is, in this very moment, where those two things happen together simultaneously, and this is them doing it, and it's a natural process, there is a link that is created on a soul level. And what happens is, when this happens, you're actually supporting your animal on a soul level across the rainbow bridge. So whether you are there physically or whether you aren't there physically, you're still there on a soul level, connected to your animals on this deeper, in this spiritual realm. So if you're wondering, did my animal feel alone? The answer is no, they didn't feel alone. Did they feel loved at the end? Yes, absolutely, they felt loved. And know that whether you were there physically or not, you were a part of that transition. You helped them move through into the afterlife. You were there, a part of it. So I hope this video has been useful. Do leave a message. Let us know. Did you feel that connection at the end with your animal? Whether you were with them or not, did you feel that vortex that I was mentioning earlier on, that sacred space that is created when our animals are transitioning? So keep the conversation going. If you've got any questions, leave them in the chat below. Thanks. See you in the next video, everyone.